And we're live. For the worst of the internet, we are live. Hello,
Yes.
and welcome. This is Productivity and Procrastination. I'm Joe, and he's James. And we're a couple of procrastinators looking to get more productive. Looking to grow, looking to be better. And this is our journey. This is you can come along with us while we try to learn how to be better productive people.
Yes. Yes, that is so. And welcome to season 2, episode 43.
He said that with so much confidence. Oh, did you look it up?
Of course.
Heck yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we're deep into the year here. And life is good. Hopefully your life is good out there too.
Yeah. Well, James, let's get into it.
Do this.
Anything to report this week? How was your week? Any
My week
goodness? Any badness? Things you want to talk about?
my week was it was it was okay. I mean, I did some work, and I also started to want to write, and yesterday I was going to do that, but then apparently I had a Windows update that went wrong. And my monitors weren't working, so
Oh, jeez.
I spent my morning figuring out what was going on there. So that kind of stunk. But yeah, I had like the black screen of death. I could see my mouse cursor, but nothing would work. It's frustrating. But
Yeah.
now I now I know the necessity of having like a one of those like boot disk kind of things going on. So I'm gonna be ready for the scares that went on yesterday. Like, oh my goodness, I haven't transferred any of my
Yeah, nothing's
stories or
backed up.
anything to my new drive. I haven't done anything. So I got a little freaked out. Um, but it was good. It's all good now. Um, did a little photo shoots with Heather. Um, Still waiting for her to do her videos, so I can't really do much else with that. But she's gonna be making me editing her session, I think now.
Nice.
So that's kind of cool. Um, had some points where I was just basically thinking, well, oh no, I played games, I did stuff with family. It was just kind of like I did everything week. Played some video games.
Nice. Still working on
Uh,
Borderlands 3.
yeah. My family got the new Mario Party Jamboree, so they've been trying to get me to play that every day. But I haven't. I only played one game with them the very first day, and that was it. Um, but they're liking it. Um, and other than that, I'm just basically trying to decide how I can weave in my writing now. So
Mm-hmm.
that's been all in my mind now, and so that's what I'm going to be pushing for is incorporating that. And so first on my list is editing. Um, so I have to reprint something that wasn't working the other day, and after that, I'll probably be jumping into just yeah, editing mode, and basically it. Um, kind of a I don't know, not really much else to talk about, kind of thing.
No.
You know, Steelers won last night.
Who did?
Steelers. I
Oh,
watched that football game. Well, I listened to it while I was at work. That was fun.
nice.
And just
Are
enjoying
they your favorite
myself.
team?
No,
Uh,
they're just they're just Sunday night football, and it was interesting because Russell Wilson made his first debut, so I wanted to see how he was going to do. He did good,
nice.
and so that was kind of fun. And just enjoying everything, really. More curious on how your week went, actually, since our last conversation. See if anything changed than I am about my kind of mid everything week. Podge kaleidoscope of everything.
So, oh, there's a few things I want to discuss about my week. I would say that my week went bad.
Oh,
I had a hard time getting to bed early, which meant that I had a hard time waking up early, which means I
hmm.
didn't, except for like one day. And then, I've like, I did a little bit of the art throughout the week, like working on the illustration. But I think the biggest issue, and it's something I should have touched on last week, is now that I have an illustration I'm working on, I'm barely doing any other art. And I feel like it's making art feel more like if I'm doing art, I have to be working on the illustration, which means like art becomes just work to put it into. I don't know if that's the right terms. It makes art just feel like a slog. I think that's a better way of defining it. And so, or it makes doing art harder. I think that's more accurate. And so I'm trying to. So that's basically my week is like, oh, and then yesterday I did spend the day as an artist. That was my goal yesterday. So I didn't have anything planned other than movie night at like 8. And I spent the day as an artist. And I need practice with that. I did get I did get some work done on my piece yesterday. I I thought the outline was going to take a lot less time than it was going to, but because of the what I'm drawing, the outline is very meticulous because of anatomy. And so I had a hard time getting that done, but it's mostly done now. And it was just a rough week. It was a rough week.
So
So
your day is
takeaways,
in. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. So takeaways is I I need to be drawing other things other than my illustration when it's not working on illustration time. I need to I need to be going to bed on time so I can wake up early for illustration time. And I need to practice becoming the artist. Because I do think there is merit there, and I want to give it
Yeah,
more time.
because part of, I mean, you said that one of your thing was you want to have time as non-illustrator, just to actually just enjoy art and stuff like that. That's some part of that whole, you know, becoming the artist thing, having a day where you're just kind of in that mode. You should allow yourself the freedom to basically feel where you're at, and if the illustration part is something that you just need to take a moment and go and shelf, to enjoy, that's part of that too. It's like really just it's being, honest with where and what you're feeling too as the artist. So, it's but it is just time as the artist. So yeah, you may be defining that a little too rigidly. If you're thinking you just have to illustrate all day long, that's not what I was saying. But
And I knew that. I just there's this like there's this unending nag about, okay, you haven't gotten enough done this week. You need to be really honed in and focus on getting that illustration done. Like, to me, that's like it's number one by a long shot.
right, and you are correct. Um, I guess it just comes down to being in the moment and being able to examine yourself and go, yeah, but am I going to do it? Is this the time? You
Yeah.
know, and if it's not, oh yeah, I'm ready, boom, you know, or if it's more like I'd rather do anything but because I feel fill in the blank, then honestly it's better just go for a walk or something and go think about where you're at, what you don't necessarily do something that you're going to be real with. I mean, yeah, you have this piece that you're trying to do. Um, but you're struggling with it, and that's okay. I mean, are you gonna finish it?
No, absolutely. There's no
Okay,
way I'm not finishing this.
that was a very quick answer. That's kind
Yeah.
of really what I wanted to figure out.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
this is going to be, I'm not going to spend my artistic time on creating, like, half creating pieces. This piece, no matter what state it's going to be in when it finishes, which so far I think is going to be good, I'm not going to not finish it. It's going to be finished. I'm going to make an
okay,
illustration, and then when this one's done, I'm starting another one, because this is how I grow.
all right. What I want to put light into is how resolute and full of energy and kind of like absolute you were with that answer. Like what the situation is there. That is not the way you felt though. So you have to kind of match that. It's like, okay, I am I am resolute in finishing this project. But then when you actually, you have the time and you're gonna do it, you're like, oh, I'm just. Well, then you have to at that moment realize that you need to pivot and you need to do something else because those two are diametrically opposed,
Yeah.
and so you're not gonna get any progress done at this time. So, you know, I th- well, Mondays was the day that you said you'd rather be the artist than Sundays. Why did you choose to change? Because Sunday's usually the day where you have packed with people.
Well, the reason I did it on Sunday is because there was nothing planned that day. So I was like, I mean, I want to do it before two reasons. I want to do it before our podcast to talk about it. And then number two is my brother has the day off, and so we're going to be working on our Magic deck or our One Piece trading card game decks. And so I was like, okay, well, if I don't have time on Monday, I'm going to do it today.
So let's roll back to Sunday. When you woke up, how how was the day as an artist? How did you do it? How did it
It
feel?
it
What was going on?
I liked it. So here's some things that it took away. Is I thought about more about what it would be like to spend every day like this, and what that actually entails. Like, what does that mean as far as the longevity of it, how it feels to just spend the day doing that. Um, Sponsored by Spicy Hot. James is holding up a V8 can. Um, but no, it was a lot of look into the general idea of like what it would be to be an artist every single day. Like what it'd be like to make that my job versus customer service. And there's a lot of things I need to tackle before I could do that step. Before I can take that leap. But there was a lot of nice things about it too. It's like I felt like I was creating. I felt like I had to, like it was nice using my brain for work. Um, it felt like it was nice. I a lot of the similar pitfalls that I would typically fall into during the week while drawing. I was like, no. There was no doom scrolling. There was nothing. It was just, okay, well, we're an artist. We're working on our thing. It was good in that way, and I really liked it. I think I need to get better about looking at it even farther back than I did.
Were you so maybe in your mind you were limiting yourself a little too much,
Yeah, I
and you
think
need
so.
to kind of widen the scope of what you can think about and what you can do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's
Yeah,
like there's
that's a
like part of me
practice
that's
thing.
like, yeah, exactly. And I think there's part of me that's like, okay, well, I feel a deadline on this piece, right? Like I feel like there's this like looming deadline, and if I was an artist, this would be crunch time for finishing a piece. Is part of my like thought process on that.
So,
But
can I ask a question? And I guess, can you turn that on the head and turn that into something that's exciting to you in some kind of mental way? You've always been kind of a person that has enjoyed the challenges and things like that that have come before you. And I guess, why is that different? Have you defined it differently? Is there something you can do to make it more of something you embrace instead of something that you kick back at?
what do you mean? Like what specifically?
The It seems like, you know, the whole challenge and slog aspect, like you're focusing on the fact that that is like a,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, difficult kind of thing. Can can you embrace that difficulty in a way that maybe um can excite you?
So it's funny you mention that because I was thinking, like, as you talked about it, I was looking at my piece yesterday and I asked myself, are you kidding me? I asked myself, is this really, like, am I wasting my time? Because I don't connect challenge in my pieces to a challenge, like, oh, let's do this. What kind of challenge is this? Like, what kind of problem solving challenge? I look at the challenge like, why is this a challenge? It shouldn't be a challenge. Why is this hard for me? Like, I should be better than this. And I
That's
think that's a big part of it, is like, there's a certain level of like, why am I failing at this?
so funny. You know, that reminds me of is like the scene in young Sherlock Holmes where like Watson walks in on Sherlock learning how to play the violin, and he's like doesn't seem to play very grand or anything like that, and he's like about to break it, and Watson's like, "No, what are you doing?" He's like, "Ah, I should have mastered this damn thing by now." And he's like, "How long have you been playing it?" And he's like 2 weeks, like, dude, chill out. Chill out. You're just learning your working process. Like, really, you're exactly right. You're looking at it wrong. You're trying to tell yourself that mastery turns into ease. That is not the way it is. It is a challenge every single time. And just like you embraced the logical, decisions and problem solving, you should be embracing this in the same way. It is a mental exercise. It is a test of your process and um, your step by step ability to overcome that obstacle. It is all the things that excite you about programming. They're the same, but you're not looking at it that way, and you need to.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because there's this like this level of, okay, well, you've been working at this for 7.5, maybe 8 years. I don't remember. Yeah, 8 years. You've been drawing. You've been working on art. Well, you've been working on art. Why is this a challenge for you? You're wasting your time. what are you doing? And it's a destructive mindset.
You embrace challenge.
I do,
You
but
like it.
yeah. Well, it's because it's a level of like it's that weird thing where it's okay. So if you tell a kid, specifically one named Joseph, oh, that you're smart, this is your whole thing, and you grow up that way, like, oh, you're smart, you're smart, you're smart, they're going to define their personality about being around being smart. And so anytime that they do something new, something hard and challenging, they're going to look at themselves and be like, well, I'm not doing this right, and this basically makes me feel stupid. And so I'm going to reject this, and this is not something I want to do. It's a very destructive mindset, and I have to be okay with being bad even after all this time. Like, it's okay to be bad at things. It's okay to be learning and struggling, and you're going to have challenges. And I have to remember that and be okay with that, because that's the reason I'm doing illustrations, is because that's how I grow. I can't expect it to be easy.
Well, I think it might be a little bit different. I mean, you're defining what the bad. Like, oh, I'm bad at it. It's okay to be bad at it. I don't necessarily think that you need to focus on that element. It is that can be destructive. I can see how you could take that. It'd be much better to focus on the challenge. You know, this is a challenge that every step of the way, no matter how good you are, is going to be an exercise in something new. Oh, what armor am I going to put on this character? What all these things should stretch you every time. And it might be a little deceptive when you watch, somebody who maybe has done it a lot. You have to ask yourself, how many times have they made that exact kind of chain link, or how many times have they made that exact, gauntlet? But, how much are they really stretching themselves? You don't know that. Maybe that's just the same stuff they've done 1,500 times, and oh yeah, it's really complex and it looks great, but it wasn't really anything new for them. So yeah, it looks all great because of that aspect of it. Everything that you do should be embraced as a challenge, and then not thinking about the bad, think just it's a challenge. I'm working on this, and allowing yourself whatever level you end up being at this moment on this piece, relative to to what you would think as perfection. You just have to let it be what it becomes. You may be putting too much weight in the moment, and instead just, the whole becoming the artist thing, just enjoy it and and finish it and
Can
relax.
I just say, it's a weird thing for you to be telling me to be enjoying art. What world are we in, James?
That is kind of funny.
Yeah,
And the whole allowing yourself to have a whole day to do it, basically, is to allow yourself to relax without a time crunch. The day is here. The peace can be here. The relaxation, the enjoyment, the fun, the excitement, the exploration, all of that combined into one day where you can just deep breath and sigh and whatever it needs to do, get your nice drink, put on some dark cello, whatever you want to do at the time,
Now you
you
speak my
know,
language.
and and be who you want to be as an artist and just try and enjoy it. That's it. That's it. If you put too much of a time constraint in it, if you truncate it down into a you have to get this done spot, that's when the stress can happen. That's when you're going to look at your piece and go, I only have so much. I got to get this done. There is no ability to not get this done. You may be asking too much for that moment. So, I guess the only thing I can say is try 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 to make it a whole day where you allow yourself the ability to relax and do it. And if that means that for a whole week you don't even touch that piece, fine. But you have to move on as an artist. You have to be the artist. And if that means you need to shelf that one thing for a moment, fine. Do something else. Doesn't matter. This 1 week is nothing compared to what potentially is your entire life of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Allow yourself to take away that tension that you have and just enjoy the process and enjoy what you enjoy about art without the deadline, without the stress, and it will become more addicting. You will enjoy that.
You're right. There's a quote that I heard recently that I think helps summarize it for myself too. And it's just another angle that I think I'm looking at it wrong. Do you do things so that you don't disappoint people, or do you do things to be great? And I think part of the reason I'm putting so much pressure on myself to get this done and be, so good is to partially so I don't disappoint people, partially to prove to myself that I can do it, and all of these things. And I think I'm looking at it in with the wrong context or with the wrong light. I should be doing it because it's what I need to do to grow. And I should be doing it because I chose this. I chose to be an artist. I don't regret it. Yeah, I think a lot of the reasons why I'm doing it Like there's a lot of baggage, I think, that I'm carrying around when I'm doing it. It's a bug. That's making it harder to do it, because it's like trying to draw it's like trying to write in cursive, but you're using stencils that are not cursive.
Well, the saying that you said, you know, is also a very difficult look at it because, you said, are you doing it? What was the first half?
Are you doing when you do things, do you
Oh,
do them
yeah,
to not disappoint people, or
not disappoint people. Or are you doing it to become great? Both of which are not good ways of looking at it. Are you doing it to be great? Greatness may become, at some point, your summary of what you have and other people's summary of you. But if you're taking it from not to disappoint to greatness, then you're going to be judging yourself and your greatness every step of the way. And I think it'd be better to go from, are you doing it to not please people, but instead because you have that draw towards it. Yeah. Draw, whatever. And that love of it, the enjoyment of it, is it is a better in the moment way of looking at it than the greatness aspect. Because if you're just going to measure yourself on greatness every step of the way, it's going to be very difficult to move. It's going to be difficult to progress. If every stroke you're looking at yourself going, oh, I don't know. How can I even practice if I don't just be great? I mean, it's just not.
mm-hmm.
It's what? It's like, how would anybody become great? I mean,
Yeah.
child, how dare you pick up that pen? Unless you're gonna masterfully stroke, you know, do not even touch it. It's counterproductive. Shed that weight that you have there. Allow yourself a day to just enjoy art. And let what production happens happen. But you have to get to the point where you love the life. Because you're putting too much stress on yourself and you're judging yourself too harshly instead of just enjoying the life you have chosen.
Mm-hmm. It's dumb when you think about it objectively. It's like, I want to be an artist. I want to make illustrations. Making illustrations is fun. I enjoy the process. Why am I being so hard on myself during the process? Why don't I just let myself enjoy it? Instead, I'm like, oh, you need to get this done. Oh, you need to get this done. You need to get this done. No, just wake up, work on it, and it'll get done. You don't have to worry about it getting done. It's going to get done. I'm going to put time in it. I'm going to enjoy that time. and it'll get done. Because yesterday, when I worked on it, I enjoyed it. It's this like constant nagging at myself. You should be working on this. You should be working on this. That I think ruins it for myself.
You see, we all have life to contend with, and all the other aspects of what you're doing in your life right now, your job, relationships, crap you just have to do, is all still there. And you may be putting a lot of the things that maybe you you want to change your life, in some ways, all of the weight that you're dealing with all of the aspects of life are pushed upon this one piece at this moment and go, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Damn it. Get it done because you need to change your life. Instead of just realizing right this moment is a blessing and you need to just enjoy today. And what happens because of the cumulative days of that may equal greatness, may equal a change in your life. But be in the moment and enjoy the process. And that is the only real way you're going to get there, because you can finally shed all that and enjoy it in a stress-free, not results-based way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Is it's not results based. It's I'm choosing to do this because I enjoy it. I'm choosing to do this because this is what I want to do. And the overall quality of my pieces will just naturally go up over time. I just need to let that happen rather than trying to make this one perfect and worrying so much about it being perfect. Like, I'm still going to try, I'm still going to do my best, but if it doesn't look perfect, which so far I think it does, uh, um, and that's okay. I'm going to do the best that I can right now, and that best that I can right now is going to grow. It's already grown over the process of this piece.
And by scheduling more of a chunk in that lifestyle, you will naturally start to want, more of that lifestyle. I mean, it should feel like a vacation day, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you're working, as it's hard, you should be like, this is awesome. And there are nobody pushing on me to have to. I can just be in the moment and enjoying it. That's the feeling you should want to go for. Like, man, yes, I'm back in this. It should be very much like a day off, like where there are no requirements. Very freeing. kind of feeling. And if you can approach that, um, I think you know what the result will probably be.
Yeah, longevity. I think longevity is the most important thing, and so enjoying it. Because I mean, as long as you're doing it, you're gonna get better. You're gonna grow. You're gonna make things. You know what combats longevity? Not making it addicting, not making it fun, not making it something you enjoy doing. Because guess what? You're not gonna do things that you don't like to do. Like you can force yourself through it, but it's not gonna be the same.
So hopefully,
So
you can make those
going to
mental
this
tweaks.
Yeah, and this next week, instead of looking at the piece being like, why am I being challenged by this? I should be better than this. I'm going to look at the challenge like, okay, let's look at this and let's figure this out. How do we solve these problems? And looking at more of a, like I typically do with any other challenge. Like, okay, let's sit down and figure this out. Rather than, beat myself up for having something being challenging. Yeah, it's something that I had to relearn, and apparently there's still, blind spots where like it's okay to be bad at things. It's okay for things to be challenging. I think our first episode, I talked about how it's important to be like our very first episode. I talked about how it's okay to be bad at things
Yes, that's true.
because it's how you grow. You have to start from somewhere, and you're gonna have challenges from the like you said from the very beginning till all the way to the end. No matter what, there's always gonna be challenges, and it's okay to be challenged, even in something you've done for 8 years. You're still gonna have challenges.
Yeah. You just have to look. Why did I stop? And figure that out. And with the openness of the day, if you were fluid enough in your approach, um, something you don't want to do should kind of naturally just go into another artistic situation. Be like, okay, well, I'm done working all these skills right now. I have a headache. Go pull the drink out of the fridge and maybe take the tops off your acrylics,
That's what I
or
was
something
thinking,
like
man.
that.
I haven't painted in a little bit. It does sound like fun. I have like a new freaking easel. I have my easel over there that I'm excited about, that I've used and really liked. There's also, I want to do some more watercoloring too. I'm getting hungry for some watercoloring.
So yeah, and then you know, just be in the moment and enjoy it and pivot and move into another artistic thing. And then who knows, in an hour, maybe you're like, all right, well, I'm ready to tackle those scales again, or I'm ready to work on whatever again, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and but that's the day. That's the life. And, swimming through those challenges and sometimes you got to go where the currents take you. You got to listen to them sometimes and just not try to swim against it so much, but
Mm-hmm.
just go, okay, well, I'm feeling this way right now. Okay, well, I'm just gonna ride the wave here and move on to something that allow my brain maybe a moment to catch up or think about something in a different way. Allow yourself to daydream a little bit as you do something else, and who knows what can happen on the other thing. That's kind of the way that I would say, feels like a good way of handling it, and I think that you would enjoy it. I do think that you maybe put way too much weight on this piece right now in the moment, and if you just toss that aside, uh, and just put some love into that piece, you know, that you're gonna go farther quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Do you feel better? I feel like I have a path forward. I'll have to work on changing my mindset, because like talking about it is one thing, but like retraining your brain to think about it differently is a whole other thing. But that's what I'm going to be working on this week, is retraining myself into, these are challenges, how are you going to overcome them? Not, these are challenges, why are they challenges for you?
And utilize the other part of your brain as well, which is a lot of the emotional side of it. Because with the challenge should also come the emotional, just the feeling of it, the feelings of what you're doing. Um, because if you're just look 100% at the challenge aspect, that's a you also have to balance that with the feeling of the day, the feeling of what you're doing, and the time to reflect on those things. With that balance, maybe the hard math of it can be eased and smoothed out, and you may find that you work a lot more on it over time, just because that enjoyment and the being an artist part of it, to me, is more like understanding my feelings and trying to just smooth out the day. It's more like that than getting the hard work done. It, the goal, the perfection side is like, yeah, work, production, who I want to be, the perfect, all that. But the reality is, without the smooth ride, you know, it's going to be hard to get there. There's always the days that are like, I've got to get this done because, I've got to get that done, when you're like maybe doing it for a living. But it all begins with, how do you structure the day mentally and emotionally together to make this an enjoyable life?
Yeah. Yeah. I think focusing on enjoyment is. And I think in order to focus on it, well, I think that it's two pronged, like you're saying, is I have to look at it differently so that I can focus on enjoyment. Because if I'm still going in with that mentality of, oh, I should already be able to do this, versus, okay, well, how am I going to do this challenge? Oh, let's also make it enjoyable in, let's get myself something nice to drink. Let's maybe put on some music. Let's Relax, putting myself in a good state. Now let's look at this.
Yeah, because
And
ultimately, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and it's gonna be like figuring out what kind of atmosphere works for you too.
Right. Because that is all part of the adventure of this.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if this is something that you potentially later on are doing all the time, you know, it doesn't get that way until you love the life.
Yeah.
That way. Um, but that's all part of it, you know? Um, you can love the challenge. You can love, the aspects of it. Um, but until you can handle, you know, the day as it, you know, it it's just a task. Once you can handle the day, then all of a sudden the life opens up and you're like, oh man, this pattern is created. And you're like, every time I get this day off where I can just do this, man, it is like a vacation. It is like a stressless environment where I'm just enjoying my life. And man, if I can just string a lot of these together, and after a while, you're like, man, we gotta find a way to get in some more of this time, and then who knows what it'll be in time, and that's a very positive environment to grow in, to hone that expertise, you know. Um, and then it's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
How much of that have you strung together, and at what level are you now at after those?
Yeah. Nice. I feel better. I feel like I have a path forward, and that's nice. Because yeah, there was definitely a disconnect between how much time spent and then my finality of how much I'm going to be getting this done. And it's like, how do I bridge those gaps or bridge that gap? And I think making sure that I enjoy the process, not that I have a good process, because I mean I think that's going to happen naturally. That I enjoy the process and let myself enjoy the process. Because it's stupid, because I've been preaching about how important it is to make it fun and all of these things, and I'm like, okay, except for illustrations. Extra illustrations to be stressful and hard, and yeah, 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 yeah. They should feel like you feel like if you're not doing it, you're drowning.
Yeah. And that takes the time, and that's why I stress the whole that day as an artist. Then
Yeah.
the time constraints are gone. The time constraints apply a gravity to every minute that you have a task that you think you need to complete. Once the time constraint is gone, man, what do I want to do? What would I
Mm-hmm.
love to draw? What would I love to paint? I'm gonna I'm not sure. I'm gonna go for a walk and just see what kind of day it is out there. What bird lands where, and what do I want to paint because of it? Or, man, just who knows? Or I want to watch Bob Ross for an hour first. as I'm sipping on my coffee. And then after that, what am I going to draw? What am I going to do? Oh, I'm also going to, well, maybe today I'll take 15 minutes and I'll research how much the con costs, and, and oh, okay. Well, I'm ready to take 15 minutes and just tackle that outline here for a little bit. If something brilliant comes to play, great, I'll go with it. But otherwise, I'll just touch it a little bit, and then I'm gonna move into this. You know, Feeling the day out in a great way. You should be looking for the peace through it, and if you find the peace, I think you're going to be in the right mode to learn, to progress, all the good things that we're talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And it's so funny. Last week, I think it was last week or the week before. Last week, I was like, no, having a day of it is stupid. And now I'm like, no, that's great. No, I'm very much on board. I think having a day of it is important. I think it's something I'm trying to get better at still. But I think it's important because it widens your horizons in a way where you're not just doing your craft. You're making you're you're becoming you're role playing the artist for a day, and including all the challenges and all of the nuances that come with that. And I think there's such a distinction that I think it really matters to have a day a week, or even a day a month if you can't afford a day a week, where you do that. Because it's not like you can't work on what you want to work on. You can't. It's not like we're stopping you from doing your craft, because that's important. But there's other aspects to your craft, especially if you want to be doing this as a job or long term, that matter. Like, for example, I think you should really look at yourself longevity wise on as far as what's going to take to do this long term. For example, like, is part of your morning routine going to be exercising? Because if you're going to be doing this long term, you should be doing hand exercises, you should be doing, stretching, those types of things for longevity. And that's just one aspect of it. So I think it's important to consider these things, and having a day of it really helps contextualize it.
Yeah, I think that was a great illustration of a lot of those concepts put together. It's right on. And you don't really realize how much all that plays a part until you give yourself that time.
Agreed.
Well, that's awesome. I'm really excited to see how that can play a part. And I realize, you'll probably have to kind of see that aspect maybe next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay. Solidify in your mind, what we talk about today, and walk into that next time that you have, that you define as that day, and maybe just listen to this episode again, so you kind of listen to yourself and walk into it with a peace, not a stress, and I'm really excited to see how that day plays
Yeah.
out for you.
Yeah, it's going to be. Well, I mean, I'm going to try walking into this a week with more of a peace than a stress. I'm going to try to be working on changing my mindset over. So that way it's not a slog. I shouldn't feel like a slog. If it feels like a slog, I'm doing something wrong. It should be something that feels nice, something that I can just like I want to feel like I'm, making these strokes like I'm friggin' the guy from Death Note writing in the journal eating potato chips. Like I want it to feel fun and
Natural.
yeah.
Yeah. And when those times come that the instead of defining it as the slog, when those moments come, you will be ready to embrace them as that challenge side of yourself, as
Yeah.
the logical side that loves the problem solving aspect.
It's the reason I picked art is because there's always going to be something new to learn and that's the reason I picked this, because I love learning. Why am I getting
But
my own way?
if you compartmentalize those moments and understand when you have to turn on that different element of yourself, that's the environment, the relaxation environment, the peace environment, the being the artist environment will position you so that when those moments come where you have to turn on that other switch, that you understand what that is and you don't define it as a slog, you define it as a challenge. This is a hard and difficult task that I'm going to embrace, I'm going to hit as long as my brain can handle it for that period of time, and then I'm not going to be defeated. I'm going to put it aside and get back into this other frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you kind of can logically look at that and be the correct, version of yourself mentally at the right time, you will perform wondrous things. It's the days as the artist that's going to give you the experience necessary to be able to switch into those modes and not carry the baggage with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think days as the artist is important for that specifically, and also like tackling any other problems that would happen is if I did this every day, like what would that look like, and then theoretically a lot of that could bleed over into my other days too, but it's I want I think it's so important as someone who advocated against it. Who, someone who thought it was silly and dumb. No, it's not. It's awesome. And it's important.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how even just thinking about it in this way may affect the small little moments that you have for the rest of the week leading up to the next time chunk that you have. And this is a great refresher for me too, because I am in this little transition point where I'm like trying to bust in my writing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very nice to have a little bit of a refresher that goes, okay. Don't see it as a certain way. You need to be able to relax into this too. It needs to be a smooth process. So I can't wait to listen to this episode tonight and get myself prepared mentally to enjoy the writing process again and creep into it the way that we're talking about right now.
Yep. Well, nice. Is there anything else you want to add before we close it out here?
No, I hope this was beneficial to you. Like, subscribe, do all that junk.
Yeah.
And we'll see how things go. Let's move on and become these people and these new professions, whatnot that we want to be.
Heck yeah, dudes. Yeah, thanks for listening. Just keep in mind that if it feels hard, if it feels like you're fighting yourself to get things done, or your progress is slowed so much, take a step back and figure out why. Why is it so hard for you to do it? I mean, you like what you're doing or you wouldn't have started doing it. Why does it feel hard now? If you have questions, comments, we also have the Discord. And yeah, take it easy, guys.
Later.